Hello everyone, I hope you are doing great. This is Sahara Kiani, and in the following videos I'm going to be teaching you how to model the items and disciplines for the electrical and the mechanical aspects of the projects, or in other words, the MEP segment of a project from beginning to end. So let's begin. First, we're going to go take a look at the files that we have for this project. The project-related files that have been delivered to me include Revit files of the architectural and structural, as well as the AutoCAD files and plans for the mechanical and the electrical. You might have noticed that among these files we've got an architectural file, followed by 3 structurals, about which we should always ask our client before we start with doing anything. As you can see here, the main structural plans have been divided into these 2 following parts, and the third one, which has the word waffle at the end of its name, indicates that our waffle ceilings are into a different plan than those. The reason why this has been done is to avoid having a large structural file, so it's been divided into 3 smaller parts to make it easier to manage the files. So now when it comes to the modeling of the MEP part of a project, we're going to have to take each one of these files and link them into Revit and inside the MEP plans. Now to begin, I'm going to go over to Revit, and in this first screen I'm going to click on this new button, and I'm going to want to use one of Revit's default templates to start with my work. Therefore, I'm going to go ahead and click on this Browse button. Now we're going to want to model the MEP segment of our project here using the metric units, but also if we decide to go on with imperials, the process for that is going to be as I'm going to be telling you later. For example, if you decide to model your project using imperial units, you could just go right ahead in this folder and select Mechanical Default Template. But if you decide to use the metric units, you're going to have to go back a folder, then go into English, and then here you're going to find and select the template that's called Mechanical Default Metric for modeling the MEP of your project, which includes the ducts and pipes. So since I'm going to be using this template, I'm just going to select it and click Open. Also, there is a way of adjusting the settings where we could have the templates that we usually use in this drop-down so that we won't have to click on Browse here every time and look through the templates to find and choose the one we need. Okay, so I've selected my template for now, and then down here make sure project is selected. Then click OK and wait for as long as it takes for this template to load for you. So the first step of the process was finding and opening the proper template. Now in the next step, we're going to go over to the Insert tab, and then in the ribbon we're going to select Link Revit, and then we're going to introduce or select the architectural file that we're going to be using. My files are in this folder, so I'm going to select the architectural file and then click Open. Now it's also possible that after you open the architectural file in your current view, just like this one, you see one part of the plan, and it's also possible that you might not even see anything. But regardless of whether you can see part of the project or not, in this next step you're going to have to go into one of the elevations you have here. For example, I'm going to be opening the east elevation. So for that, I'm going to double click on it and wait for it to open. Now here we can see the levels of the project, and the next thing we're going to be doing is that we're going to have to take the levels we have in the architectural file and copy them into the MEP project that we're going to be working on. You see this mechanical template already has 2 levels by default. They are level 1 and level 2, based on which we've also got 2 floor plans and 2 ceiling plans. Now the thing is that if you don't find your levels over here, you could use the help of the Visibility Graphics window, which you could open by using the shortcuts either VV or VG and readjust some things in there. Here we're going to go over to the Revit Links tab and then uncheck the visibility box for the architectural link, then click OK to hide the architectural file. Now as you can see here, these are the 2 default levels that we have in the template. Let me zoom in a little bit. Level 1's offset is at 0 and level 2 is at 4000. So after I spot the default levels I have in the template, I'm going to press VV again Then go back to the Revit links, recheck the visibility for the architectural, then click OK, and now we can see it again. So you see these two levels we have, neither their names nor their offsets match with the levels we have in the architectural file. So the thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to select these two levels at the same time. But you see, as I go onto the architectural link, its borders keep getting highlighted and ready to select. Now, in order to make your architectural file unselectable, you could just use this option down here. It says Select Links, on which if we click, this red X mark will appear next to it, which means that the items in the links in the current view are no longer selectable. Now, as you can see, when I go on the link, it doesn't get highlighted or ready to be selected. Now, I'm going to drag over these two levels to select both of them at the same time. And after that, I'm going to hit the delete key from the keyboard. I'm just going to go ahead and delete them, since neither of their names nor their offsets matched with any of the levels in the link. So they're just not compatible. Now, after pressing the delete key, I get this warning, which says that there are 6 views here, which have been created based on these two selected levels. And if you delete said levels, then so will those views. We can also see their names down here, as well as on this side. We've got the mechanical floor plans, the ceiling plans, as well as the plumbing plans for levels 1 and 2. So this warning right now just wants to make sure that we do want to delete all those. We're going to click OK to confirm. Now once I click OK, just notice how here the floor plans and the ceiling plans will also be deleted. So click OK. And did you see that? Those plans have been deleted as well, because those floor plans and ceiling plans were made based off of those default levels. So they've just been deleted along with them. Now in the next step, we're going to have to create the levels that we have here in the architectural link inside the mechanical file as well. Now in order to create these levels, and in an easier way where their names and offsets are also compatible, I'm just going to go ahead and copy these levels from the architectural link inside the mechanical file that we're going to be working on. Now to copy the levels, first we're going to have to go over to the Collaborate tab, and then use this Copy Monitor tool. Also notice how this tool won't just simply copy items, as its name says Copy Monitor. This means that it's going to be copying the levels from the architectural link, while also monitoring and tracking those levels, so that in case in the architectural file the names of the levels change, or their offsets, then we would be notified of that change over in the mechanical file. So I'm going to click on Copy Monitor, and then we have two options in the drop-down. One is Use Current Project, and the other is Select Link. Now we're going to want to copy from the architectural link, so we're going to click on the second one. Now I'm going to have to introduce the architectural link that I'm going to copy from. I'm going to move the mouse over on the architectural link, which we could also see its name and information in the tooltip. And now once I click on the link, it's going to be selected. Once we've selected the architectural link, this new tab will be added here called Copy/Monitor, as well as its tools over in this ribbon. Now the thing I want to do is I want to copy some stuff, so I'm going to click on Copy. Then I'm going to zoom in to see the levels clearly, and then I'm going to click on the levels that I want to copy, so that they will be copied in the mechanical file. Also, you might notice that we can see the architectural and the structural levels all at the same time, and we also know that the architectural levels are the ones a little above the structurals. Also, when it comes to the mechanical modeling, the basis of our work would be the finished floor level, which are usually referred to as the FFLs. So we're only going to be copying the architectural levels. Also, we know that the architectural levels go a little above the structurals, but if you feel like you need to see their names in full, so you could identify them better, then you could just go ahead and change your scale level from 1/100, which is set by default, to, for example, 110. I'm just going to be selecting a smaller scale level so that the text will appear smaller as well, and easier to discern. Now you can see that if I zoom in on here, we can clearly see the name of this FFL. So click. Now for copying the very first level, the software may need to take a little bit of time to copy its name and offset. After we have copied the first one, we're going to continue copying the rest of them in an order. The next level is the 5th floor, And now let's go lower to the 4th floor, and then go even lower to the 3rd. And then we're going to go lower than that to copy the 2nd floor. And then when we go lower, we can see this mid first, so we're going to copy that as well. And after that, we've got the 1st floor itself. And then we're going to go lower to copy the ground floor. And then after that, we've got this mid negative one. Then negative 1st floor. Negative 2nd. And the last level is going to be negative 3. Also, we've said that we're going to be ignoring these structural levels. Now, after we have clicked on every single one of the levels that we wanted to copy, we're going to have to click on this green check mark which says Finish to confirm the copying. Now, also to make sure that our levels have been copied, I'm just going to once again open the Visibility Graphics window using the shortcut VV. Then I'm going to go to the Revit Links tab, uncheck the links visibility, then click OK. And as you can see, even when the architectural link is hidden, the copied levels still remain. I'm going to also change the scale level back to 1/100 to make their names and offsets appear. So now we have copied the levels from the architectural link and with the same properties into the mechanical file.